6 months ago, I set off from the Scottish border with one goal in mind: to drive the entire coast of mainland Scotland while living in my van. Since then, I've explored countless places, met some incredible people, and experienced far more than I could have ever imagined when this journey first began. But today feels different because after 6 months on the road, I've finally reached the very end of Scotland's east coast. From hidden harbours and ancient ruins to dramatic cliffs, castles, local food and everyday van life along the way, this final stretch through Caithness feels like the perfect way to bring this chapter of the journey to a close. There's nothing quite like waking up next to the sea, hearing the seagulls. It's only 6 o'clock in the morning. It's fully daylight now. It was daylight at 4:30 when I woke up and the sun started coming through my skylight. What a morning. So good morning to everyone watching. For those of you that have been following my series around the entire coast of mainland Scotland, you'll know that last week I left you off at this location here at Duncansby Harbour. It's a great wee park up, lovely little spot, honesty box system with a £7 suggested donation. So I just stuck a tenner in it. Great wee spot, Wick Castle up there, sitting precariously on the edge of the cliffs. It's a lovely park up, and I've been very fortunate with the weather, and hopefully it stays like this today because we do have some day planned. And the end of this episode is really going to mark a milestone of this journey. It's been an incredible adventure over the last 6 months. I've loved every single minute of it, supporting local businesses as I go, buying local produce from butchers, fishmongers, farm shops, cooking with it in the van. It's become a real theme of this entire road trip, and of course visiting local businesses and local charities and trusts and things along the way, getting to know people within different communities. And it's really taught me something valuable doing this road trip and filming and vlogging it as I go with those themes. The road trips become really special, not because of necessarily just the places that I've visited, but it's the people that I've met along the way that have really made it super special. And I'm incredibly grateful to be able to take my time and do this. When I first set off, if you go back and watch my first episode when I start at the Scotland-England border on the east coast, you'll know that I set off to do this in 3 months, which was just totally ridiculous. It's going to take me at least another year, I would think. The west coast is full of all these little nooks and crannies and peninsulas everywhere, and I intend to stick to the coast as far as roads will take me. And for those of you that are new here, I'm David, the Scottish man in a van, and I've been living in this van for over 3.5 years now. I spend the majority of my time exploring my home country, of course, of Scotland, but I have been to England, Wales, Ireland, France, Switzerland, Germany, and I will travel further afield again. However, I'm determined and excited to finish exploring the entire coast of mainland Scotland. And if this is the first vlog that you have seen, feel free to check out the rest of this series. There is a playlist on my channel called I'm Driving the Entire Coast of Mainland Scotland, and they're all in order. The link to the playlist is also in the description of this video if you're having difficulty finding it. And if you enjoy what you see today, please remember to hit the subscribe button. It is completely free to do so, and it will really help me grow my channel. The more subscribers that I have, the more views that I'll get, as YouTube will show these videos to a wider audience. So thank you very, very much. So first order of the day for me is just to get a few hours of editing done in the morning, and then we're going to head up the Caithness coast from here, heading north towards Wick, where I'm going to settle in for the night. It's a really bonny harbour down there. never actually made this stop before. Looks really nice. My first stop today was the Waterlines Heritage Museum, which tells a remarkable story of Lybster. Today, Lybster is a quiet highland harbour, but it wasn't always this peaceful. During the 19th century, it became one of Scotland's busiest herring ports. From the fishermen who spent weeks at sea to the herring girls who worked tirelessly, gutting and packing thousands of fish by hand, it's a fascinating insight into a community whose fortunes were built on the sea. And like so many places along Scotland's east coast that I've discovered so far, Lybster's story is one of resilience, hard work, and adapting to changing times. There's also a lovely cafe on site, and apparently their crab rolls are to die for. But I wasn't stopping for food here today. My journey was to continue further up the Caithness coast as I make my way closer to one of the most spectacular sights on Scotland's east coast. But before we get there was one more stop I wanted to make, an ancient site and one I'd never been to before, the Hill o' Many Stanes. Scattered across this hillside are around 200 standing stones, carefully arranged in more than 20 rows over 4,000 years ago, making this one of the most unusual prehistoric sites in Scotland. Exactly why they were placed here remains a mystery. Some archaeologists believe they may have been used for ceremonies or gatherings, while others think that they helped track the movements of the sun and the moon, guiding the rhythm of life for the people who built them. The illustration here offers a glimpse of how this remarkable place may have once looked, but after 4 millennia, the Hill o' Many Stanes is still keeping many of its secrets. Well, it's fascinating, isn't it? You could just imagine what that must have looked like all those years ago. It's totally different from your standard sort of megalithic places and structures with, you know, the huge standing stones and things of that nature. It's totally different from that. Obviously, you have to read into it and look at the information boards are quite good with regards to it shows you what it would have looked like, but you need to use your imagination when you're there, and I quite enjoy that side of it anyway, to be honest. But next up, I'm going to be heading, it's literally a 3-minute drive further up the coast. And this is one of my favourite stops between Dunbeath and Wick, and that is the Whaligoe Steps. This place for me is one of the most spectacular sights anywhere along Scotland's east coast. With towering cliffs and a beautiful waterfall cascading into the sea below and a tiny natural harbour tucked away beneath them, it's absolutely breathtaking. As beautiful as Whaligoe is today, it's the story behind it that makes this place truly unforgettable. Carved into the cliffs are the Whaligoe Steps, all 365 of them. For generations, these steps connected the harbour below with the world above. Fishing boats landed their catches here, but getting the herring to market was another matter entirely. That responsibility fell largely to the herring lasses. Day after day, these remarkable women climb these steps carrying heavy creels of freshly landed herring on their backs, some weighing over 30 kilos. And once they reached the top, their day was far from over. Many then walked for miles to Wick and beyond, where the fish would be processed, packed and sold. Rain or shine, wind or snow, they simply kept going. It's almost impossible to imagine that level of physical labour today. The brave fishermen may have brought the herring ashore, but without the strength, determination and endurance of these women, the industry simply couldn't have functioned. Standing here now with only the sound of the sea and the waterfall echoing through the cliffs, it's hard to picture the noise that once filled this harbour. Boats arriving, barrels being loaded, voices calling out across the water, and the constant footsteps of men and women working from dawn till dusk. Places like this remind us that history isn't only shaped by kings, queens and castles. More often than not, it's built on the backs of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And here at Whaligoe, few stories deserve to be remembered more than theirs. Oh wow, that just absolutely blew me away when I put my drone in the air. I've never been here and seen that waterfall running, so I'm extremely thankful for the rain that has been happening over the last sort of week and a half or so, especially during the night, because that just tops this place off. It's what a beautiful, beautiful spot. But the story of this place is quite fascinating, isn't it? I mean, what those women had to do, going up and down those steps and then walking all the way to Wick and beyond and further south as well, whether you want to call them the silver darlings or the heron quines or whatever they might be called here. Back-breaking work. They were some strong, strong women, I tell you. But you can see why this was used. It's such a beautiful natural harbour, and when the sun shines, that water down there just goes like an emerald green. It's absolutely stunning. And the cliffs all around are just, look at that. Utterly spectacular. And so far this morning I've got it all to myself, which is just perfect. So after making my way back up the 365 steps, I decided to make one final stop before parking up for the night in Wick. It was time to pick up some fresh local produce to cook with tonight in the van from the Puldagon Farm Shop and Cafe. What is that noise? Sake. Summing up with my MaxxAir fan. Oh, that sounds horrible. I don't even know if you can hear that or not. Kind of rattling. I'm gonna have to find a place to pull over and park. Right, so yeah, my MaxxAir fan has just completely broken. I've taken the front grille off, but there's just like bits of plastic, screws, a bracket. I don't actually know what happened there, but I can see some pretty serious damage. I mean, it's so old. It'll be almost 5 years old now, and it's all minging. But I'm gonna have to try and get this off and maybe even just cable tie it down. I'm not going to be able to use it, I don't think, unless I can fix it. But all the plastic where those screws go in just looks all broken and shattered. Fun and games, innit? This is van life reality for you. Yeah, that bracket's gone. Oh God, those plastic threads at the top are just totally fucked. They're just goosed. Oh, you are kidding me. Oh, come on. I'm gonna have to replace this, I think. Right, let's see if this closes. Oh, this is broken again. I don't know what's going on here, but it's not wanting to stay down. That's why it's broken. With the, obviously as I'm driving with the wind, something's come loose and it's... Why is it not? Is that... That's better. Okay. Wait, how do I... This is risky taking this one out, but I don't really know what else I can do here. Yeah, there's just no thread left in any of those two bits. Can I glue it anywhere? So, see that, look at the state of that. I've got the 3 in on that side fine, but that is totally goosed. Not gonna lie, I'm a bit scared. That worked. Okay. And off. That worked fine. I'm just going to check that it's closing properly, because yeah, it is. Fixed it, happy days. For now. I think I'm going to have to... I'm either going to have to order parts, or I'm going to have to order a new one. It'll need to be the same one. Fucking hell, am I bleeding? Oh, I'm bleeding. Blood up there. When did that happen? Oh, I've got it all over us. Usual. Anyway, I'm going to clean this up and get this away, get back on the road. Well, we've got some Highland goose. Loads of them. A little bit far away, but they are here. Who doesn't love a wee Highland goo? Onion, heritage tomatoes.
Oh, lovely, thank you very much.
So after a long day of exploring Caithness, it was time to get parked up for the night at the Castle of Old Wick and get cooking. Right folks, well, I'm dead excited for tonight's dinner. I do like a nice chilli, and it's a kind of, it's a bit like a sort of traditional chilli con carne. Pretty much is that. I'm just going to shut this slightly, it's pretty windy. As long as there's a bit of a gap for steam to go out, that does me just fine. But honestly, cannot wait. I did go to the shop and just grab some mushrooms. Whoa! I just like to add some mushrooms to my chilli just to kind of beef it up a little bit. It lasts me a little bit longer if I do that. But I've got pepper, a couple of red chilies, some garlic, onion, and then I've got all these beautiful tomatoes here, and I'll bring them out. They're heritage tomatoes So I'm going to chop them up and use that. I do also have a tin of chopped tomatoes as well, obviously just to add to it. But I thought it'd be nice to put some nice fresh sort of tomatoes like that in there. I've got some jalapenos, I've got some red kidney beans, of course, and the Puldagon Farm mince as well. So I'm looking forward to trying that. And then in terms of my herbs and spices and stuff, I do cheat. I do that quite a lot when I'm cooking, to be honest. So I do have an Old El Paso sort of chili mix, but I do add to it as well. If I need some chili flakes on top of the fresh chilies, I sometimes add them. I've got my own chili powder as well, and I do like to put in a little bit of the smoked sweet paprika. I just find it evens out some of the spice with just that tiny little bit of sweetness. And then as it's cooking, I'm going to cook it for quite some time, and I'm going to leave it overnight. So I'm going to add a couple of bay leaves to it as well, just to give it that sort of earthy. I don't know. It's hard to describe what bay leaves do, but for me, when it's like stews or, you know, things like this, you're going to be leaving them. It just gives it that sort of, I don't know, like that earthy sort of flavouring to it. I don't understand how it works, but it works. So I do use them a lot more regularly now in things like my stews and things like that and things of this nature. And it has improved my dishes, definitely. So basically, I'm just going to fry up a little bit of the onion with the garlic, obviously get the mince and that browned, chop up the tomatoes and stuff. I'll chop up some of the mushroom and put that in with the beef, and I'll just build it up in my big frying pan. Ultimately, get the tomatoes in, get the chopped tomatoes in, get the kidney beans in, then all the spices, and just let it sort of cook and let it stew. Like I said, I'm not going to be actually eating it until tomorrow, when it tastes the best. I mean, even the second day is good, which is why I'm making loads. I mean, this is a huge amount, really, for me. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So, as always, I'll just time-lapse this. You don't need to watch me for the next hour, do you? Right, so that is it basically. Just going to stick a couple of bay leaves in it, and that'll be us. Done and dusted. Perched dramatically on the narrow headland overlooking the North Sea are the ruins of the castle of Old Wick, one of the oldest castles in Caithness. Although it's long been associated with the Norse Earl Harold Marinson, the surviving tower you see today is now thought to date from the 14th century. Over the centuries, it passed through the hands of powerful Highland families, witnessed clan feuds and sieges, before eventually falling into ruin. Today, it's the setting that's just as impressive as the castle itself. Surrounded by towering sea cliffs and crashing waves, it's easy to understand why this headland was chosen to guard this stretch of the coastline for centuries. But after a night spent here beside the castle, the next stop on my journey is just around the corner. And if there's one thing guaranteed to wake you up in the morning, it's a dip in the North Sea at the Trinky, Wick's much-loved tidal pool that's been welcoming hardy swimmers since the 1920s. There's a Trinky sign there, and I think, I'll tell you what, I reckon there'd be some pretty good fishing off these rocks here. It's a perfect place to get a rod and that set up. Yeah, it's quite nice. The pool's getting closer to the pool now. I bet this is going to be slippy. Not bad actually. A reason. Oh, it's nice though. That is fresh. Oh, lovely. It's definitely not as slidey as I thought it was going to be. I thought I would be really struggling. It's alright with these water shoes on. Well, after a refreshing cold dip in the morning, it was time to head to one of my favourite castle ruins in the whole country, Castle Sinclair Girnigoe. Clinging dramatically to the cliffs above the North Sea, Castle Sinclair Girnigoe is, for me, one of the most spectacular castle ruins anywhere in Scotland. Surrounded by the sea and connected to the mainland by a narrow strip of rock, it was built to be both a home and a fortress. The earliest parts of the castle date back to the late 15th century, when William Sinclair, the second Earl of Caithness, established a stronghold here. Over the following centuries, it grew into one of the most important seats of the powerful Sinclair family, whose influence stretched across much of the far north of Scotland. But behind these impressive walls lies a story every bit as dramatic as the landscape itself. Perhaps the castle's most infamous resident was George Sinclair, the 4th Earl of Caithness, remembered to history as the Wicked Earl. His reputation for cruelty became legendary. Determined to secure his family's wealth and power, he even imprisoned his own son, John, here inside the castle after suspecting him of rebellion. According to tradition, John was deliberately starved to death, with food placed just beyond his reach to prolong his suffering. Whether every detail of that story is true or embellished over time, it became one of the darkest legends associated with this place and cemented the Earl's fearsome reputation. But the Sinclair family's grip on Caithness wouldn't last forever. By the late 17th century, a bitter dispute over the earldom saw the title pass to the powerful Campbell family, a decision many of the Sinclairs refused to accept. In 1680, George Sinclair of Keith laid siege to the castle, bombarding it with cannon fire before finally driving the Campbells out and reclaiming his family's ancestral stronghold. But victory came at a price. Rather than restore the castle, George ordered much of it to be stripped. Roofs, floors, doors and timbers were removed, leaving it uninhabitable. Ironically, in reclaiming his inheritance, he also sealed the fate of one of Scotland's most spectacular castles. Today, as you wander through these roofless halls and look out across the cliffs to the endless North Sea beyond, it's hard not to imagine the lives that once lived here. Noble families, soldiers, servants, and generations of Sinclairs all called this place home. Now, all that's left are the ruins, and when you visit, with the waves crashing up against the rocks below, Castle Sinclair Girnigoe remains every bit as powerful as the stories it still holds. The one thing that always strikes me when I come and visit this castle is just the way it was constructed. It's almost impossible when you're standing here to tell where the natural rock of the cliffs end and the castle build begins. It's almost like it becomes a part of the cliffs, and that's what's always fascinated me about this castle. And they must have quarried from the rocks around about, because it is basically the rocks of the cliffs that they've used to build this structure. It's just so impressive, and hopefully this gives you some scale of what we're actually looking at here. I wouldn't stand under here too long though. I don't want something falling on my head. Worst blooper ever. this is definitely one of my favourite spots here at the castle as well. This beautiful pebble beach. Ideal for a wee dip, it really is. Now, I just mentioned George Sinclair of Keys, the man who reclaimed Castle Sinclair Girnigoe, and just a little further up the east coast stands the ruins of Old Wick Castle, another stronghold closely linked to the Sinclair family. The tower you see today was built in the late 16th or early 17th century by George Sinclair, the 5th Earl of Caithness. It remained a Sinclair residence for generations before eventually falling into ruin, later being replaced by a new family home built further inland in the mid-18th century. Perched high above Sinclair's Bay, it's another striking reminder of just how deeply the Sinclair name is woven into the history of the very north of Scotland. I'm just going to head further up the coast, basically to John O'Groats, and then I'm going to be swinging a right to Duncansby Head, which will see me to the end of the east coast at last. After setting off in January, basically just over 6 months ago, it's taken an awful long time to get this far, and when you consider that when I first set out, I thought I was going to do it all in 3 months. It was quite laughable, isn't it? But I'm really glad I've decided just to take my time and do it, and it has grown arms and legs, especially with my buy local message and trying to incorporate businesses into it and local people that I meet along the way. It's just added a totally different dimension to my content, my weekly content across social media and of course on here on YouTube. So and people seem to be responding to it, so I'm really glad that I've decided to take my time, and it is also a good time for me just to take a little bit of a break. You know, we're going to be going into July very, very shortly. It's the busiest time of the year up in the Highlands and on this sort of north coast area, and coming down the west, the schools are all off. So it's the perfect time for me to take a break, especially with all the filming and things like that as well. It's just so much easier when it's not as busy. It'll be much more difficult for me during July to sort of do that. Yeah, it's the perfect time for me to take a break, and that is exactly what I'm going to be doing. But I do have 4 specials that I'm going to edit and upload and schedule before I go away on holiday. My girlfriend's been really busy this year as well, building her forever van home and working at the same time, etc. She's done such a great job with it. She's basically completed the first stages. Next up, it's just all the electrics and the plumbing and things like that, and then she's pretty much ready to move into it once her son goes to uni, fingers crossed, in September this year. So we've both been working really, really hard, and we've both decided we want a break, and we've booked a holiday to Crete, which I'm really looking forward to. I've never been to Greece, the mainland, or any of the islands, and I love Greek food, so I can't wait. And just to sit, relax in the sun, hotel. With us being us, you know, we do get bored laying around for too long, so we've already been looking at hikes we can do and things like that nearby. So yeah, but it's going to be a welcome break from all the filming and the editing. I've got a lot of work ahead of me over the next sort of, couple of weeks before I go, to make sure everything's filmed up here, make sure everything's all edited, scheduled, ready to go in July. So I actually don't have anything to do in July. No editing when I'm abroad, no doing anything, just relaxing and having a bit of a break from social media, which is important. I think that something that we all need to do from time to time is just have a break. And for me, it is my job as well, and it's full on, so I need a bit of a digital detox, and I'm really looking forward to having one. And it feels like a bit of a milestone moment finishing the East Coast as well. So it feels like the perfect opportunity to actually put out some specials of, the journey so far. So I'm really looking forward to putting them together for you and having them going out. So there'll still be something going out every single Sunday for you all to enjoy. And then it's the North Coast, which is going to be obviously the shortest section of this entire journey, going along the North Coast from basically Duncansby Head. I think officially it goes all the way to Cape Wrath in the northwest. And of course, I don't think there's any roads to Cape Wrath. You have to hike it, don't you? So if that is the case, I might do that hike. I'm definitely going to be taking the hike to Sandwood Bay and wild camping at the beach. So I might do a wild camp at Cape Wrath, just to say that I've been to that sort of most northwesterly point of the British mainland and Scotland. So lots to come, and the East Coast is beautiful, it really is. And there's a lot more to see on the East Coast than people give it credit for, because so many people default to the West. And I've had so many comments like that from you all, saying, "Oh, I had no idea the East Coast had this," or whatever, and maybe gonna change coast for a change, rather than just always going up the West Coast or the Northwest Highlands or whatever, which is nice. It's nice to hear, because the East Coast, I think, is often overlooked. Is it as dramatic as the West Coast? No, of course it's not. And it is going to get extremely dramatic as this road trip continues, especially as you go along the North Coast and then down the West. Honestly, it's going to blow your mind if you've never travelled up this way before. It really is, and it's different, and you're going to see some incredible views with what I'm planning to do, of the Highlands on the West Coast, whether it's beaches or whether it's views from the top of some of our most famous mountains, and you're gonna love it. I always like this view now you get heading up towards John O'Groats. It's lovely. See the islands there, that's Orkney in the distance there. You can see a ferry actually in the distance going across, and that is, I think that's to Hoy, if memory serves me right. The Old Man of Hoy's right at the tip of that on the left hand side. I think. I can't quite remember. I could be talking absolute cod bollocks, to be honest. But there's definitely the Orkneys over there. And we are in John O'Groats. Now, John O'Groats is often mistaken as the most northerly point of mainland Britain, but it's not. That's actually further along the north coast, west from here, a place called Duncansby Head. And here's something for you. My first ever series on YouTube, which was last January in 2025, was actually from Orkney. And there is a playlist on my channel if you want to go and check it out. I also created a film from Orkney, which is basically like an amalgamation of all those episodes, kind of put together. Because back then, I think the episodes were only around about, 12 to 15 minutes long, compared to, you're pretty much getting 45 minutes to an hour plus now every single week. And when they were 12 to 15 minutes long, they were taking me 40 hours to edit. Back when I first started last January. And now, you know, these episodes you're watching every week, at about an hour or so long, they're taking me around about 18 hours. So that's how much faster I've got at the sort of process, if you like, each week. So yeah, if you want to check that out, there's a playlist on my channel. It's the oldest series I've done, and it was amazing. I absolutely love Orkney. It is incredible, and I can't wait to return at some point. I had an absolute ball when I was there for the 5 to 7 days or whatever it was I was there. I think it was a week I was there. I filmed over 5 days. It's honestly amazing, and the Orcadian people are first class. Honestly can't wait to go back. It's one of my favourite islands that I've been to so far in Scotland, without question.
The Scottish fans have been unbelievable.
Oh, Super Ali's on, superb. We've got 25 minutes to kick off. Oh, I'm getting nervous already. But I've just had a quick look outside and it looks like I've got a beautiful sunset away to happen. It's almost 11 o'clock at night here, as you know. It won't get dark, at least past midnight. It doesn't get very dark at night at the moment, right now in the summer here. But yeah, I'll let you see this outside my skylight. I'll get this open. Let you see. Look at that. What a lovely sight that is. Superb. And honestly, this is the first time I've ever parked here, and I'm the only van on motorhome here. That's really odd. Is it because the World Cup's on? I don't know. Hey, well, good morning, folks. Not the result we're after. 1-0 Morocco. 70 seconds, lack of concentration at the back cost us. And the referee was pathetic as well. I mean, it was a definite penalty. But remember when I said before the match, when I looked out and there was no camper vans and motorhomes, and I was confused. I think I was getting mixed up with Duncansby Head. Because normally I would stay, when I'm up this way, I would stay at Duncansby Head. So that car park for Duncansby Head and the Stacks is no overnight parking. That's why I was confused. That's why I couldn't believe that there wasn't any camper vans or motorhomes next to me. But I was getting mixed up. I was thinking I'd done it Head. So I ended up just watching the game anyway. Because I think you're meant to move on for like 10 o'clock at night or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not that strict times wise. But yeah, I moved on after the game and just drove back to Wick. I wanted to go and get another wee dip in the Trinky to wake me up this morning. And I'm going to head back up to Duncansby Head to go to the to go and see the Stacks 100%. So I'm about to go in for a really cool dip in the Trinky again, just to wake myself up. I've got my coffee here as well. I'm not going to bother taking you with me because you've already seen the Trinky earlier in the episode. So very shortly you'll see me a little bit fresher and a bit more alive. And yeah, I'll see you up at Duncansby Head. This final stretch of Scotland's east coast has led me here, Duncansby Head. Marked by its iconic lighthouse and the towering sea stacks just offshore, this is one of the most spectacular corners of mainland Scotland. Over thousands of years, the relentless power of the North Sea has carved these dramatic cliffs into one of the country's most breathtaking landscapes. And looking out across this coastline, it's impossible not to reflect on everything that's happened over the past 6 months. 6 months ago, I pointed the van north from the Scottish border with no real idea what lay ahead. I hoped I'd discover some incredible places, but I never imagined just how much this journey would come to mean. Now, after 6 months on the road, I've finally reached the end of Scotland's east coast. Over that time, I've explored ancient ruins, climbed forgotten paths, wandered windswept beaches, and stood on some of the most spectacular coastline anywhere in the country. But more than that, I've met kind, generous people whose stories have brought these places to life in a way that no guidebook ever could. This journey has reminded me that adventure isn't measured in miles, it's measured in moments. In the conversations you never expected to have, the communities you never really knew existed, and the memories that stay with you long after you've moved on. As this chapter of the journey comes to a close, I can't help but feel incredibly grateful for everything the East Coast has given me. But the road around Scotland is far from over. And before I continue this journey around Scotland, I'm taking a few weeks to look back on everything this incredible East Coast adventure has given me. Over the next 4 weeks, I'll be sharing 4 special episodes, celebrating the people I've met, the hidden places I've discovered, the amazing local food I've enjoyed, and some of the biggest lessons this journey has taught me along the way. And I really hope you'll join me for these. And after that, we'll point the van west and continue this adventure together around Scotland's spectacular north coast. Like and subscribe for more van life adventures.